Welcome everyone into Bet Win Repeat for Picks and Parlays. I'm Hannah Mears. You can follow my social medias at Mears Hannah, and don't forget to download the new Picks and Parlays app available across all platforms. And of course, visit our website, picksandparlays.net. Use promo code MLB, get 20% off of the entire site. How's everyone feeling out there? How are you doing? The days are beautiful here in Pittsburgh, PA. I know we'll see Cam in just a bit. He's enjoying the weather as well. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out in Canada with all the wildfires happening. I know there's been a dry spell everywhere. So if that's you, we're thinking about you and hoping everything is going well for you. We've got a lot to talk about. NBA Finals, another game coming up for that. We've got Stanley Cup Finals. We've got Terry on deck to talk about that and give you some of his best plays as well. So stick around with us. But also don't forget, mention in the chat, ask us about any picks that you have questions on about today. Give your thoughts and prayers to my Pittsburgh Pirates, who are currently down in the first inning 5-0 to the worst team in baseball. Nothing better to brighten your day than that. But to get things going, we're going to bring in Cam Ross. Let's see where he's hanging out at because it's bright and sunny where you are. What do you got going on today, Cam?
Yeah, it's just a nice day here in Georgia, and I'm outside, just living the dream.
How hot is it in Georgia right now?
It's in the upper 80s, but it's starting to get very humid here, so it feels a little hotter. It's more of a thick hot than just a straight hot.
So you do get the like humidity down in Georgia, right?
We get a ton of humidity, and I went to school at Georgia Southern, and down close to Savannah. It's in Statesboro for people who don't know Georgia, and it's really really thick down there. But yes, it's a thick wet hot is how it feels.
Not ideal at all.
Not
well,
awesome.
I'll tell you what's been hot. The Miami Heat last game has been hot, and they're coming into game 3. This is the finals returning to Miami for the first time in 9 years. So after taking game 2, it was evident that Miami's strategy coming in, and I think everyone picked it apart. They were going to let Nikola Jokic have his. And you and I have talked about this a lot in terms of strategizing against the Nuggets and saying, no matter what, Jokic is going to have his, so let him have it. Why is that so hard? Miami sort of played to this, and it worked in their favor. He had a 40-ball game, and I could see a similar strategy. You have to play that way, right? If something works, don't fix it, right? Don't fix what's not already broken. So tell me what you're feeling coming into the third game, though. Does Denver sort of figure this out? Do they strategize a bit more? Do you think Miami sort of figured this one out?
I think it's a little bit yes to both of your questions. I think the insertion of Kevin Love in his presence, even though it was, it wasn't a constant, but I think he helped the game. He allowed Miami to spread the floor a little bit more. They were able to run a little bit more, and Miami shot the leather off the ball. Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, they all played much better in game 2 than that of game 1. And the Nuggets did not play well. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword from game 2. Miami shot the ball really well. Denver did not. Miami made 17 threes. They won the fourth quarter by double digits, and Jamal Murray missed a shot that would have sent it to overtime. So, a lot went right for Miami, and they still barely squeaked it. Joker didn't have a triple-double. Jamal Murray struggled for most of the game. He came along. I think both teams found stuff that worked. But I don't know how many more surprises Miami can throw at Denver now that Kevin Love has played. And I would imagine that Joker, Murray, the coaching staff, they're going to figure it out. And they're going to be better starting tonight and in the future.
So let me ask you this. The total was something a lot of people have been speculating about in this game, sitting around 214.5. It was at 216.5 and it moved. A lot of this might be based on the fact that, now listen, I'm not saying this game's going to go over because I think these teams have figured each other out, but Denver's defense has been historically bad on the road, giving up about 8 more points on the road defensively to that opponent. So when you're looking at this total, what is your immediate opinion on, does it go over? Do you play it under?
No, I actually am looking towards the over. Miami scores better at home. They found their rhythm in game 2. Denver is down. Well, they're not down, but technically they've lost home court. So I would imagine Denver's going to be out running and gunning. I don't see why this game couldn't get up in the 220s. I expect Denver to shoot the ball much better. I expect Miami to continue to shoot the ball well. I don't know if they'll make 17 threes. Again, that was the second most threes Miami's made in the playoffs and the most they have made since game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So counting on Miami to make 17 threes may not be a thing, but I'm not going to say the reserves, but the other guys not named Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, all those guys, even Bam, they're going to play better tonight at home in front of their home crowd. They know the rims, and I would imagine both teams have been in Miami since the night of game 2 or early in the morning the next day. So they've been there. I know both teams have gotten a ton of shots up. Both teams are going to be ready to go. I can see points in bunches.
I actually have for my Mearsy Minute, one of my best bets was looking at Miami's team total over 106.5, just because of the way Denver's defense slacks and because of the way that they shot the ball. They're going to have a little bit more momentum, I think, coming back into home court as well as what you were saying. Another guy, obviously Jokic is somebody that everyone looks at his point totals every single game because sometimes he's a lock with that, right? It's hard. He's going to get his. But people are speculating. A lot of people like the under 29.5 that they're seeing thrown out there for him. I personally might have to just ride the over with this one. That's the one I'm taking just because it may not be a 40-point performance, but to say that Miami's not going to have a similar game plan and letting him sort of attack the rim if he'd like or shoot the ball from his point, I would say he goes over this, but what is your opinion on that 29.5? Do you like it? Do you not?
Yeah, I do like it. I think my opinion on that is what you said to start the show. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's been a walking triple-double. He's putting up 30 pieces. He's getting what he wants. Like, he had a crazy point total and a crazy triple-double in game 1 and had only taken 5 shots going into the fourth quarter. Like, he can get, it seems like Jokic can get it whenever he wants. But Denver is better when they're all going. Bruce Brown has been probably the best bench player for both teams, most consistent bench player. He's been fantastic throughout the playoffs. Jamal Murray's hitting shots. KCP's hitting shots. Aaron Gordon has been an issue for Miami and in this series, him playing the bully ball. But I just think Jokic can get it whenever he wants. So I would rather go over than risk going under because they lost, so he may have 17 in the first quarter tonight. You never know, and I think Jokic is coming in. I think he takes this series a lot more personal than we're giving him credit for because this has to do with his legacy as well. He could be a top 5, top 8 center ever if he gets a ring.
Another guy that I'm curious about, everyone's talking about Jamal Murray and how do you free him up, right? If Miami's game plan is to just let Nikola Jokic sort of have his own performance and they're eliminating his other factors, because one thing we know about Jokic, he's an amazing passer on their team, right? He's the heart of their offense in that way. So how do you free up Jamal Murray in this one when you're looking at his point totals and just getting him more involved in the offense in general in this game to pull out the win?
I think you have to put the ball in his hands more. Let him go create for himself a little bit more. And then, make the passes to Aaron Gordon, to KCP, to Jokic. Get him and Jokic in the pick and roll game, but maybe swap. So Jamal Murray is giving the handoff, and then he can flare off and, get it. I think Jamal Murray is going to need to create more for himself, which he can, which he was doing in the fourth quarter of game 2. But I think him getting it more for himself will allow Jokic specifically to get him more involved. But I just think Murray needs to be a little more selfish to get his own offense going.
Looking at Miami's offense, does Jimmy Butler go over his total? How big of a night does he have offensively coming into this one?
And see, going towards Jimmy Butler, Jimmy gets in those stretches where he can score and fill it up. But then Jimmy gets in those stretches where he wants to start shooting. And as they were going down in game 2, I think Jimmy Butler is for sure the head of the snake in Miami. Jokic is the head of the snake as well in Denver, but Jokic has a better supporting cast, such as Jamal Murray, Michael Porter. They can go get it on their own. Miami needs Jimmy Butler heavily, and I think the Nuggets are going to focus in on Jimmy Butler and try to make it hard on him. Because if you let Jokic get off, the Nuggets still have enough. Jokic is going to get off. But if Jimmy Butler's not playing well, that really stifles the Heat. And they really, really slow down. Much like game 1, he was atrocious. And I think Miami wants to make it hard on him. You take him out, I think the Heat go away.
Where do you look at when you then look at a side or a total in this one? Are you picking Denver in this one? They're favored at 2.5. Would you go with the spread? Where are you leaning toward this matchup?
Yes, I actually have Denver. I've actually had Denver for a couple of days. I actually have them on the money line. I think I got them on the money line 142 or something. Much more than that. I'm not really into it. But yeah, I think Denver retakes control of the series tonight. I think Denver's going to come out hot. They're going to hit their shots. They're going to play well. They lost their first home game of the playoffs. They're pissed, and they win tonight. They get two more home games with 2 games won. So in a way that would almost lock it up for them, hypothetically, with the way they play at home. But I still think Denver is the overall better team. I think Denver is going to get the win tonight. However, if they lose tonight, take Denver for the series, because you're either going to get even money or you may get plus money. But either way, I think Denver is going to get the win tonight.
I would agree with that. I think Denver would pull this one out. I think they have a good enough coaching staff as well to assess what had happened last time and have the skills to go ahead and take this game. Plus, they didn't lose by that much, right? It wasn't like they got blown out. They just had a team that strategized very good against them. Lenny has a really good question. Do we see Tyler play in this series at all?
I think we're going to see this, and I can say this. I haven't read into it, but I write for the sites, as you guys all know. I write prop plays for the sites for this series, and Tyler Hero actually had a prop total last night coming into this game. So in my head, that would signify, if it's not tonight, he's coming soon. He's going to play soon. And I guess some people will say that would make Miami better. To me, I don't know. I really don't know, because you're going to give away shots to guys who have been smoking, guys who have got you here. And I'm not discrediting Tyler Hero at all. He's a good basketball player. He could help, but I don't know. But he has had a prop total. I haven't seen him on injury reports. I haven't seen anything. So if he's not back tonight, I would imagine he's coming, because the whole entire time the speculation was, if the Heat make it this far, Hero will be able to play at some time in the finals.
Yeah, they said he was warming up pregame yesterday, correct? So throwing him out there, seeing what he's got. Does he make his big return at home? I mean, this would sort of be picture perfect for him. What type of prop totals did you see out there for him upon his return? Was there anything crazy you were looking at?
I would imagine if he's going to come back, it's going to probably be at home. They may hold him tonight and keep him from game 4, but his prop total was 12.5 points coming into this game. So to me, that signifies he may play, but he's not going to play a lot. Because, Tyler Hero gives you 20 quite often. He averaged a good amount of points this year, but 12.5, to me, that seems like if he does play, it'd be on restricted minutes.
Were there any props that we were looking at when you're saying you're writing for sites? Anything that could surprise people or anything to stay away from in this game?
Kevin Love was 5.5 points. Jimmy Butler, he's always high. Jokic is always high. Yes, I would say, because and with props you can bet on points and assists or points and rebounds. Jokic's points and assists were like 39, but then with his
41,
rebounds,
I think, something like that. Yeah, they were up there.
But then with his rebounds, it was in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest, if you're going to do something like that, I would do the full triple double, because that gives you that third stat to add on to it. It was 5 or 6 more. Yes. Adding the reboundings. I think there's more value on the rebounding, like points, rebounds, and assists, and you get more bang for your buck with the odds as well.
Absolutely. When I look at combining his stats, that's the one I usually go to, because even if he's having an off night on assist, he's going to be crashing the boards. He's going to be getting the rebounds and vice versa. Lenny's saying credit to Tim Earl, but if you parlay Nuggets money line and Joker assist, it is plus money. Do we like that? I think that's probably a good bet. I did see that assist total sitting a little bit high. Do we have an exact number on that, Lenny, that he was looking at?
Was it 11?
It was definitely in double digits, and it's never bad to be in double digits, but they definitely were trying to limit his presence in terms of passing as much as they could. That was part of Miami's game plan in the last game. Will they be able to stop him forever? No. But if it's above a certain number, let's say if it's above 10, do you take that?
11 has been the assist total I have seen through the first 2 games. That was his number, actually 11. That's just from me writing. His individual number was 11. And, he was he was a minus 20,000 to lead this series in assists coming in. And he's actually second right now behind his teammate Jamal Murray.
You can get it at times at 9.5. I would take that over 9.5 if you can. You can see it at 10.5, 9.5. I would take the over 9.5. If you see it around 11, probably even, but any more than that, I would say stay away from it for this game at least. But 9.5, I would say absolutely slam the over on that one, in my opinion.
I'd be a big fan of a single digit number for sure.
Absolutely. You have to, anytime you see a single digit associated with Nikola Jokic, you might have to go ahead and
Yeah.
place some money on that. And even better, if you can parlay that with the money line and get yourself some plus money value, then why not? Cam, any final words, things that are up on the site and you want to let everyone know about on picksandparlays.net because they can use promo code MLB, get 20% off the entire site right now. I know you're sitting, second on the site? Is this for this week, this month? Give us the details
It's
of where you're sitting.
I had a 3-0 day yesterday. The Braves came back and got the win. I'm number 2 for the week. I'm 3 or 4 for the month. So, there it is right now. Stuff's going well. I know Terry's doing well too. You're going to see him in a minute. Come on over, combine us, get us together. We're both running pretty hot right now. So, it's a good time.
Heck yeah, we'd love to see that. Two of the guys that we're going to have on the show, one right now that's going to be sadly leaving us very soon, but Terry's going to be coming on. He's ranked in that 3 spot. We're going to hear from him briefly. Again, Cam, thank you so much for your insight on the NBA. You're always our go-to guy with that, and I always appreciate all of your insight. Best of luck with all of your bets, and thanks for stopping by.
Of course. Good luck, everybody.
Again, you are watching Picks and Parlays Bet Win Repeat show. This is live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got a ton of guests to come on and talk just different things going on in the sports world with you, but we will always be giving you some of our best bets, throwing out different numbers for the different events that will be happening. We just talked all about NBA with Cam Ross, and now it's time to bring in Terry Edelman because Terry talks a lot about NHL. First and foremost, Terry, are you in Canada? Is that where you're based out of?
I live in Hamilton, so right near
Okay, so
Toronto.
how are you being affected by the wildfires, if at all? And how crazy is that going up there right now?
Well, it's mostly happening. There's some happening in near Quebec. There's also in the Maritimes and Nova Scotia. But if I walk outside, it's stinky. It smells like burning. It smells like someone's house is burning.
Oh my
Really,
goodness.
and it's just the air quality is bad. So it's
Yeah.
a good time to stay inside and look up sports stats instead of going
Absolutely.
outside.
See, it's a great time to just sit back, watch some sports in bed. But honestly, we're thinking about you guys in Canada and hoping everything goes well and nobody loses too much. I know wildfires this time of year can be extremely scary. Fortunate to live in a place where I don't have to be affected by that. So thoughts and prayers to all of you. Terry, third on the site, my guy. Talk a little bit about what's been going good for you so far with your betting and why you're sitting in that third spot.
Yeah, just 6 straight profitable days. I'm a really streaky bettor, so when I'm good, I'm good. And right now things are just going great. Yesterday I had 5 run lines in MLB. As of course, if you go on the site, I never give out a play that's worse than minus 135 odds. So it's minus 140, minus 150. I don't play it. It's plus money or up to minus 135 for me. And I had 5 run lines yesterday. My 3 that won, I went 3-2. My 3 that won, all were losing by multiple runs at one point. And then my 2 that lost, the Dodgers had a 5-run lead, and your Pirates unfortunately just didn't have a good game there. So
tell me about it.
that's baseball.
The one time I'm like, okay, Mitch Keller, I'll make a bet on the Pirates and I'll take him over 6.5 strikeouts against a team I like Oakland, who strikes out more than anybody
Yep.
in baseball right now. And he just had an off night. Now, listen, it's going to happen. He's been having such solid games that I'm not surprised that eventually it did happen. And unfortunately, it's against the worst team in baseball. But sometimes when you play the worst, you sink to their level. So if the Pirates were due for a bad one, let's throw it here and get back against some of these better teams in the division. But right now, let's look ahead for a little bit. Let's talk some NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. This series is going to be headed back to Florida. Here's my question to you. Does Vegas get the sweep?
Normally in a Stanley Cup final, you don't expect a sweep. If you watched the videos before the series started, I did choose Florida to win this series. Now, of course, things change. In game 1, I stayed off. I had no premium plays in game 1. Game 2, I took the over 5.5, which cashed. I have a play for game 3 up on the site as well. But really, if you're looking at this series, it's player props. There are 2 player props that I have been cashing over and over and over again. And I'm not shocked when I cash them in the first period, because it's been happening in the first period, so nice and early. And I'm screaming and yelling because I'm cashing plus 190s, plus 160s consistently. So
Who
there's
are
two
these
plays I
players?
really
Give
like.
us the insight.
So there's two Vegas players that play on the same line together. Jonathan Marcia show
Mhm.
to get a goal, which I got for plus 190 in the last game. It is around plus 160 for tomorrow's game for him to score. He's scored in 6 of his last 7 games. There's no way he should be plus 160 to plus 190. He had 2 goals last game, so he's just consistently finding the back of the net. And if you look at the guy he's playing with, Jack Eichel, a lot of people are talking about, oh, Eichel hasn't scored. Eichel hasn't scored. I don't care that he hasn't scored because he's assisting every game. 8 of his last 10 games, also 6 of his last 7, he has an assist. Plus 100 for him to get an assist. He had 2 in his last game. Of course, these two plays aren't going to win forever, but 6 of the last 7 games, I probably cashed about 5 of the 6. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These are auto bets for me right now because they continue to cash game after game.
Yeah, game one, I go to at least get a point, record a point. I mean, he's one of those guys. If you look at those points out there, sometimes you can get good value, and just to even get a point because a guy like Eichel and then Kachuk on the other side, they're probably going to be impacting the game in some way. Though they're not scoring, they're very impactful players, and they're not afraid to share the puck. So those are always good ones to look at when you're looking at the total. I'm kind of surprised seeing some of these team totals and seeing the totals in these games and where they're set because of how high scoring of games that these have been, especially on the side of Vegas. The total sitting at 5.5 again. Both previous games have gone well over this. Do you like the total in this game, or are you shying a bit back from it, thinking, this can only go on high scoring for so long?
Yeah, well, as I said, I had the over in the last game. My premium play up on the site is the side in this game. When it comes to the total, I'm staying off this time. I was on the over 5.5 the last game. Reasons why I would take the over is the penalty kills. Neither of these teams are very good at um, stopping the puck when they're on the penalty kill. Vegas 3.89 goals for. They have the best offense in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, and 2.58 goals against. So they're stopping pucks they're supposed to be stopping. They're scoring probably more than they're supposed to be scoring. But Florida here at home, they have to win this game. Now, of course, having to win and actually doing it is two completely different things. But Florida is going to be really, really desperate in this game. I think that because of how desperate they're going to be, like Lenny says here, I don't think he's going to get a shutout. This Vegas offense is too strong, but I think he's going to play better. We
Yes.
have seen him he looks kind of tired. So if he's tired, then this is going to end in a sweep and the series is over. And we'll be able to tell that early on in the game. If he lets in a few goals, then the series is probably over. But if, like Lenny says, he does well and doesn't allow any goals the first couple periods, he could get Florida right back in this. So the total could go either way. That's why I'm not taking it here. I could understand why people would take the over or why people would take the under. I could see it going either way in this one.
Yeah, what I will say though, not even just looking at the total, Vegas's team in terms of goals scored right now, that's sitting at 2.5 as the total for that. They've done this in 6 of their 8 last Stanley Cup playoff games, right? Vegas had a combined 12 goals in the last 2 games. Why do you think this is sitting so low? Do you think it's because the desperation mode that Florida's going to be in?
Yeah, probably, and Florida being at home as well. But if you look, they're 4-3 at home. Vegas is 6-1-1 on the road. So uh, you have to take that. You have to look at those stats because they really do matter. Bill McDonald in the chat here says Terry Vegas at plus money next game. They're plus money in this game, and really looking at it, I don't want to say too much, but the way Vegas has played this series, they should not be plus money. That's probably all I have to say about that.
What about Lenny talking about the saves in this game? He said over 28.5. Do you like anything with the value there in terms of the saves? I mean, this has been high scoring games on both sides, and we know Vegas is going to be taking a lot of shots. So do you like the saves total in this one?
I'm huge into player props, but I don't really look at goalie saves. One of the reasons why Bobrovsky got pulled in his last game, if for some reason he comes out here and does let in a couple quick goals, he's going to get yanked, and you won't get anywhere close to the saves number. So I don't necessarily know that that's going to happen. He could, like Lenny said, he could come out here and have a really good game, and then this would be a good bet. But I haven't actually looked at the saves the last few games, so I can't really give out an opinion on that in this one.
All right, let's say Vegas does go on to sweep, right? Vegas becomes this dynasty team. What happens in terms of the fact that they did get to pick and choose a few years back to create this team? What happens with the future of the league when making these new teams or making adjustments? Do you think anything will change because of the advantage that they have?
No way, no. But so Seattle had the same thing for Seattle, and this is a really great question because I get to talk about my Minnesota Wild. Um, if you look at Minnesota and Columbus, they both joined in 2000 at the same time. Both got fourth line players and both got players that were AHLers and that were bums, really. Columbus and Minnesota got ripped off. Now, next, you go, what, 12 years, or I think Vegas came 17 years later when Vegas comes in. Vegas paid, I think, 500 million. Don't quote me on that, but they paid a lot of money for the Vegas Golden Knights. And with that, the NHL wanting these newer teams to not have to struggle for uh, 4 or 5 years, they switched the expansion process here. So these teams are much more competitive early on. And with the amount of money they're paying, I don't really see that changing here. And when expansion happens again, I don't really see that changing because they're paying so much money for these teams and the NHL won't uh, ask for less money. So while they're asking for as much money as they are, the teams have to be competitive.
Yeah, and it makes it fun, right? Seeing these new teams come in and start making an impact right away. It does make it fun. It's hard to say it's not.
Yeah.
Lenny's saying they're buying a cup, and I don't mind it. Hey, listen, in baseball, we buy World Series, right? So in hockey, we're buying cups. You can't blame it. In
Well, with hockey,
basketball,
there's
they're
the
buying teams too. Basketball maybe more so than any other team, especially with all the news happening right now, talking about, oh, look, can LeBron stay out of the spotlight for once in that? But what were you going to say about that, Terry?
yeah. Sorry, with the difference with hockey though is there's a salary cap. So unlike baseball, you can't really buy a cup because you can only spend 82 million.
Look at
So
Terry getting down to the nitty gritty there, Lenny.
yeah.
Sorry about your opinion. You can't buy it, he says.
Well,
In
I I don't know. It's
statistically speaking, also speaking of baseball, Sean Higgs, quit picking on my Pittsburgh Pirates. I would appreciate that in the comments. I'm getting brutalized here about the Pirates. Yeah, not their best performance over the past 2 games. Not the type of game you want to have against the worst team in the league. But nonetheless, they probably deserve a little bit of the hate that they're getting right now. I completely agree with that. There is no excuse for the fact that Mitch Keller was pitching yesterday. That game went the way that it did. And now, right off the bat, in the first inning, they're down by 5. And what's the score now? Like 7-1? Is that the score? Are we still sitting at that? Someone want to validate that? Not ideal at all. How have your props been for, and your plays in general, been for MLB lately? Have you been making good money on the site with MLB? Want to send anybody that way?
Yeah, that's where most of my plays have been coming. With
Mhm.
NHL slowing down, right now on the site, it's just MLB for me. However, in a couple weeks, I'll be talking Canadian football, CFL. It is starting this week. I need a week or two of numbers to look at before I start giving out plays. But yeah, expect some Canadian football on Bet Win Repeat
How
coming very
invested are
soon.
you in Canadian Football League? How invested are you? Like, is that your league to watch more so than you like consuming the NFL, or is this just something that makes it more fun to bet because you're in Canada?
It's more the latter. It's something I've got into more recently. Obviously, once I started handicapping sports more professionally than recreational, I started looking at different leagues. Being a Canadian, CFL, the cup is being held in my city in Hamilton, so that'll be really interesting as well. So, on my birthday as well, so
Well, that'll be a great
they have to
birthday.
go to that game. Yeah.
Lenny says he loves the CFL. All right, we're here for it. Can't wait to talk about all of that betting that will be taking place as well. Terry, let's remind everybody they can follow you using your handle at Let's Go Wild. And then don't forget as well, you can find Terry, who's ranked number 3 right now, and Cam, who was on the show earlier, ranked number 2, over on the site, picksandparlays.net. Use promo code MLB. It saves you 20% off this entire site. Look, we give you our hot cappers right now. You can use this promo code to go and use some of these cappers picks at a discount, at a premium. Go ahead and figure out what's going on out there. Make yourself some money. We've got a lot to bet on between NBA and NHL and MLB. This is like the best time of year to start betting when everything's overlapping and at the crucial points of the seasons as well. Terry, thank you for joining us. And everyone, don't forget, head over to picksandparlays.net. Use that promo code MLB. Get 20% off the entire site. Like, share, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Every day we post new content, whether that's a Mearsy Minute on a YouTube short, Beers with Mears live every other Thursday with a new episode. But you can go look at all past episodes right now over on our YouTube page. And of course, find our cappers over on our site. Bet, win, repeat live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, and you don't want to miss a single second. Until next time, I'm Hannah Mears. That's Terry Edelman, Detroit Lenny in the background producing, and Cam Ross was on here earlier. We will see you guys later.